If you're new to wet shaving with safety razors and you need some suggestions or recommendations from somebody who has walked the beginner safety razor user path before, then this video could be right up your street. I decided to keep this as simple as possible and give you 4 options. I've used these 4 over the last few years, and I revisited them and did a video on each one of these before putting this roundup together. So if you need detailed information and want to see a full review of these, then you can check out the videos in the description below. But these roundups are really useful because I can just condense all of the information that I've gathered over all of the previous reviews, put it all together, and that might just be enough information to go, right, okay, that's just what I need. But if you need to go more in depth, then you can take a look at the single reviews for them. 4 razors I've got for you is the Merkur 34C, the Edwin Jagger DE89, the King C Gillette, and the Merkur 23C. All 4 of these will meet the needs of a guy who's new to wet shaving. The Merkur 34C and Edwin Jagger DE89 was 2 of the first safety razors that I ever used. Now I have progressed to more aggressive razors now. However, for the new person, I would suggest to go along with something like these razors that are going to be mild or mild to medium aggressive in aggressiveness. And then there's other attributes that they have as well to be suitable for the beginner. There are other razors that I could recommend, and there are quite a few other options. There was even a couple of adjustables that I considered. However, I thought about it more and I just leant more towards these 4 razors. I do think to get started is try and keep it simple. Then maybe you can start looking at other razors, or that's what I would suggest anyway. I guess I'd call these gateway razors. You know, a great introduction to wet shaving with safety razors. And although I say gateway razors, there might be a razor that somebody always wants to stick with. It might be ideal, might be perfect, but they're just a great starting point. So a quick intro, my name's Jason, I run the website shavingadvisor.com. I review all sorts of men's grooming products, and one of the products that I really enjoy reviewing is men's safety razors and any of the traditional wet shaving gear and supplies. The traditional wet shaving aspect of men's grooming is, it's got a lot to it. There's a lot of shaving creams and soaps you can try, and brushes and razors, and it becomes a real hobby. So be aware that if this becomes a hobby, you could be starting to chuck a bit of money at it. They all say safety razors versus cartridge razors, multi-blade razors is a much cheaper venture, and it can be a much cheaper venture if you keep it cheap. However, if you get to like it a lot, then you can start throwing cash at it, to try them different soaps out and scents, and it can be never ending. If you want to start today, the latest reviews that come out, do hit the subscribe button, you get a notification once the video is live. Okay, so first up is the Merkur 34C. This is my favourite out of the bunch. It's not going to be everybody's favourite, that's why I've got 3 other razors. The reason I got switched on to this as one of my first razors, because it's all over the wet shaving forums, and people advise on their website that this is a good option for people that are beginners, and it was a great place to start. So the cost, if you're in the US, you're looking at around about 50 to 60 US dollars, depending on where you purchase this from. Or in the UK, it's around about 40 plus. 45 pounds. So it's most definitely not the cheapest safety razor you can purchase, especially when you're getting started in wet shaving with safety razors. However, it's definitely not the most expensive either. The main point for me would be it's at a great price point based on its quality. Let's take a look at the features and design. One thing I've always got from my Merkur razors is a great chrome finish. It's perfect. So it's a very short razor. It's only 80mm long, 3.14 inches long, which is much smaller than a standard. It's quite weighty despite being small. It weighs 78 grams, which is 2.75 ounce. It's a 2-part razor, so it comes apart with undoing this screw at the bottom. The top cap comes out. Now that's really useful for beginners because a lot is to pop a blade inside compared to a 3-part razor. Here you'll notice there's a drainage hole there, drainage gap there and there. And this helps when you're shaving and any of the shaving debris and cream flows through there. So it's a DE razor, so it's double-edged. So we've got that side and that side. So this is what we call a closed comb razor. It has a safety bar along here, and the blade sits in between this gap. This is the grip section here, which is what we call knurled. This here also provides extra grip. Let's pop a blade in, unscrew the bottom. Let's pop a feather blade, and this is what I'm going to be using for the demo shave. If you're new to using safety razor, you might not want to use a feather at first, and use something like a Derby blade or an Astra, because they're a lot milder until you get to know the razor. That's it, just do that back up, it's as simple as that. Now the blade gap on this, which is between the blade and the safety bar at the bottom, is 0.71mm, which means that gap is quite small, and that's what enables it to be mild, or one of the main factors of why it would be mild. A more aggressive razor would have a wider gap there. That would be one of the main factors anyway. When shaving the Merkur 34C, it definitely provides a mild shave, so there's less chance of getting nicks, cuts and irritation. The 34C has plenty of grip on the handle, and it being a 2-part razor makes it just that bit easier for blade changing. And when I first used the Merkur 34C, I didn't think this was going to be a good razor for me because it being so short. However, I was really surprised about how I enjoyed it being a small razor and how the size of it makes it much easier for maneuverability, moving around the various areas of the face, like the chin, around the mouth. You know, it also makes it a good choice for people who say got a goatee beard or have some sort of beard style, and they can shave in and trim around the sides of it and cut in, and you know, it's very, very useful for that. The maneuverability of this razor is brilliant. Now, that length may be challenging for people that are coming from using cartridge razors or multi-blade razors because they have a longer handle. Other people that might have a challenge with it is people with very big hands. However, we only really need the tips of our fingers and the thumb together that to need to be able to use the razor. Still, some guys with very large hands might struggle with it. Paired with the right blade, the Merkur 34C will give a great mild shave. And if it seems too mild, when it's slightly more aggressive, you can always stick a feather blade inside it, which is one of the sharpest blades that we can get, and that will still soon step it up. And that's what I usually use in this razor and other mild razors, is a feather blade. My second favourite beginner razor is the Edwin Jagger DE89. Now, this is a classy and great looking razor, and I've had some great shaves. I still can have some great shaves with it. Absolutely suitable for the beginner. And with the DE89, this is more of a standard length handle. I guess it's quite good to recommend a safety razor that does have a standard handle. It kind of makes sense because it gives a beginner somewhere to start and then try and compare other handles in the future. I guess point you guys in the direction of a razor that is standard, or the standard features of a razor, is going to make sense because you've got a great starting point then, and you can decide on razors that are more aggressive or longer handles, shorter handles, or adjustables, a single edged rather than a double edged. But something like the DE89 has all of the standard stuff going for it, and it's very high quality as well. As for the cost, in the US you're going to pay anything between $30 to $50. Prices vary from around different stores, and also on which model. If you get the classic version, it's always a little bit cheaper. You get versions that are gold coloured as well, and they're a little bit more expensive. In the UK, you pay anything from around about £22 to about £45, depending on which version you buy and which store you buy it from. Or in the UK, as we say, in what shop you buy it from. Okay, let's take a look at the features and design. Now, the DE89 comes in a few variations. It comes in some different handles. You get a classic version, which is plain. You get a line version. You get a line version, which I had one of them in the past, and I sold a load of my shaving gear. I've had to buy this one. This one is the knurled version, and you get a barley handle and an octagonal handle. Another difference is some of them come with a slightly longer handle, where the slightly longer handle is 101 millimeters, 4 inches long. This is the longer handle one. The standard version is 93 millimeters, 3.7 inches. So the longer version is only slightly longer. That also means the longer version is slightly heavier, only a few grams heavier. I think the standard version is 68 grams, and the longer version is supposed to be 70 grams. It's only a couple of grams difference. To give you an idea of how long this is, although this is the 101 millimeter length one, so this is the long version. I'll put the Merkur 23 at the side of it first, so you can see the Merkur 23 is much longer. The Merkur 23C on the left is a long handled razor. I'll also put the Merkur 34C at the side of it, and that's a short handled razor. So you can see really that's kind of somewhere in between. If you've got a standard version of the DE89, it'll be a few millimeters shorter. The handle design of this one is knurled. It's not deeply knurled, this is finely knurled. You can get some razors where this is a very deeply knurled type that offers lots of grip, but there's plenty of grip that this gives anyway. You can see this has a nice chrome finish. Edwin Jagger states that the chrome is triple plated and hand polished. Okay, so it's a 3-part razor, so we undo the handle and we end up with 3 pieces there. There's a top cap, the safety bar, and the handle. Now, a 3-piece razor is not quite as easy to do a blade change as what a 2-piece is, and I'll show you that with the Merkur 34C. You'll see the Merkur 34C is 2-piece, so we just undo that handle there and then pop the top off. So you can see that was going to be easier than putting 3 pieces together, but it's no major biggie or a deal breaker, but you can see that's a bit simpler. I'm going to pop a blade in the Merkur 34C first, a 2-part razor, just to compare them for you. We've got a feather blade there to pop in. You actually get a feather blade with the Edwin Jagger DE89 razor. And feather blades are known in the industry as very sharp blades, but Edwin Jagger recommends them with this razor. So the 2-part razor, it goes into the top cap like so. All you have to do is put the 2 parts together, and that's it. Jobs are done with that then. Now with the DE89, it's 3 parts, like I've said. And the same as the Merkur 34C, we put the blade in the top cap, and then we've got to add the safety bar. And with this one, I also have to make sure that the blade is aligned. I can see that. Then attach the handle feather blade attached, ready for a shave. That's what I'll be using for the shave. Now, one of the major aspects that makes a safety razor aggressive or not, or milder, is the blade gap. That's the distance between the blade and the bottom safety bar. The best measurement I could find for this was 0.71 millimeters. That's mild but not extremely mild, so it's probably between a mild and medium. Now, this is a closed comb DE razor. It's a double-edged razor, 2 edges, one edge there, one edge there, which shave with both sides. And this bottom section here is what you call a safety bar. Now, this has ridges that supposedly help to guide the hairs before the blade cuts the hair. This safety bar offers protection, and it kind of makes the skin slightly taut as well. The D89 gives a nice mild shave. However, I do feel that it is slightly more aggressive than the Merkur 34C, and that's only slightly, so I'd kind of call it between a medium to a mild to medium razor in aggressiveness. But that aggressiveness, I don't mean like it's over aggressive and it's going to cut your face to pieces. Not that type of aggressive, just up a little bit, and still on a beginner's scale, or the mild to medium. However, I do want to do a side-by-side with the Merkur 34C and the Edwin Jagger DE89 and really compare them next to each other. The length makes it really good on the longer strokes when we're shaving. It's going to suit most people. Maybe not quite as great as the Merkur 34C in maneuverability. However, this has plenty of maneuverability. And I like the width of this handle as well. It has a nice width to it. It's a nice thickness to the handle. And I think many guys are going to appreciate that. Another nice aspect of the DE89 is that you get the option of choosing various handles, and even the colour as well. Have gold and rose coloured models. Number 3 on my favourites list is the C Gillette. The reason this makes it third on the list is because it's quite affordable. You can pick one up for around about $20 US or £20 in the UK, or even less than that. I think when I purchased this, it was about £13. And you can find them in local stores, like in the US, in Walmart, and in the UK, other shops and stores. So it is possible to pick one up for around about the same price as some of the cartridge razors, multi-blade razors, which is a bargain. And because it being so affordable, there's not much risk attached to it, is it? If you're spending $30, $40, $50, or above, then you're going to feel more of a loss if you're not happy with that razor. But $10, $15, $20, it's not much to lose out on, is it? It's easier to take the risk. Let's take a look at the features and design. When you get the razor, it will come in this box. Mine's not inside the box, but you'll also get a pack of razor blades that come with it as well. A pack of 5. You can see the razor's got a nice chrome finish. It looks nice. It has a nice emblem on the top there as well, if you can see that. That looks pretty cool. It has some grip here on the handle, which is useful, of course, when you're shaving and your hands are wet, so it doesn't slip. It's not quite as grippy as when you get a knurled handle. This is a knurled handle on the Merkur 34C. It's not quite as grippy as that, but it still provides enough grip. It's quite a long razor. It's 101 millimeters long, which is around about 4 inches. Now, the standard size, what I'd call a standard size, this is a Muller R41. That's what I'd call the standard length of a safety razor. This is a little bit longer, or quite a bit longer actually. It's quite a weighty razor. I actually weighed it because there was nothing on the description on the box or the website for Gillette. It weighs 101 grams, which is 3.5 ounces. That's quite weighty. Now I'm going to pop a blade inside ready for the shave. I don't have any of the C Gillette blades that came with it left, so I'm going to use one of these feathers. Feather quite a sharp blade, but I like, in the mild razor, I like to use a sharp blade, a sharper blade. But the C Gillette blades that come with it, they're good enough. They're kind of standard really, and at least they come with a razor, and there's something to get a measurement of what type of blades you might like. They could be very suitable for you. Right, so the blade pops into the top cap like that. The other aspect with a 3-part is that we need the blade to be aligned. So that looks about right to me. Tighten the handle up. This here is what we call the safety bar. You'll see notches on there. That's supposed to help guide hairs while we're shaving, but the safety bar as well will help put some pressure on the skin before the blade makes contact with cutting hairs. Now this blade here, if you look underneath there, between the safety bar and the top cap underneath there, the blade, there's a gap there. Now this gap is important for the aggressiveness of what the razor can be. And on this razor, it's 0.45 millimeters, so it's a very small gap, so that'll help it to be a mild razor. Now here on razors, you get like a blade overhang. Sometimes it's quite a lot. There's a good bit there, but it's not too much. It doesn't get in the way when we're shaving. It's just sometimes nice when these are not so prominent. Another thing about the hand, this is a Muller R41 on the left. That handle's a lot thicker than what the handle is on this Gillette. Now some people are going to like a slim handle, or some of them are going to like them thicker. That's just personal preference. I think I'll prefer them thicker, but sometimes my preferences change. Now I'll be honest, in a way I want the C Gillette to kind of fail, because I like backing up the smaller companies, and I'm just thinking of Gillette you know, are making billions and billions from their cartridge and multi-blade razors, I kind of did not, in one way, didn't want them to succeed with this, which I guess is not right really, is it? However, it's a pretty decent razor. It gives a good mild shave, and the long handle might suit guys that have come from using cartridge razors, because the cartridge razor handles are generally quite long, aren't they? So that could be something that a beginner gets on very well with. It's a very weighty razor. I was surprised how weighty it was, but I like quite weighty razors. That's something that people that use cartridge and multi-blade razors may not be used to. However, it's a good feature, because if a razor is quite heavy, it will help do the work of shaving. There's less pressure and you allow the razors to do some of the work. So the King C Gillette, I was pleasantly surprised by the shave. While it's not my favourite razor or even favourite mild razor, it's still a good option, and the affordability of it makes it a good option. There are cheaper options that I've seen people recommend in the forums. However, I tried a couple of them and they was just a bit too cheap and not quite right for me, and I kind of don't want to recommend a razor that's a beginner's going to use and then they're going to get put off by wet shaving with safety razors and just never return to it again. So I'm trying to include some options that are a little bit more expensive than completely cheaper options, which I hope people are going to really like. And last but not least is the Merkur 23C. This is my fourth recommendation, and this is one that I think for guys coming from using multi-blade cartridge razors with the long handles are possibly going to like. So the cost is around about 35 to 45 US dollars, and in the UK it's about 35 to 40 quid. Let's take a look at the design and the features. And one of the first things to note about 23C is that it's a long handle. The full length is 105 millimeters, which is 4.1 inches. Now, compare the handle length with what I'd call like a standard size razor. I see the difference there. That's a more like R41, and that's what I would call a standard length to the right. So you can see that it's a bit longer. Now a shorter handle like the Merkur 34C, that's much shorter. Now, another razor I reviewed recently, the King C Gillette, is quite similar in length, but still not quite as long. It's still a little bit longer, or very close actually. They're very close in length, and that length kind of makes them quite suitable for people that are moving from a cartridge razor, because cartridge razor handles are relatively long. Now, the handle is quite slim as well. This is the thickness of many standard safety razors. We can see that the Merkur 23 is quite slim right here on the left. There's plenty of grip. This is what we call knurled grip on the bottom there, and that holds well in the hand. No chance of this slipping whilst you're shaving. So it's obviously a DE razor, double-edged razor, so you can shave this side and that side. The blade will sit outside both sides. Now this edge here is what they call a safety bar. On other razors this can be an open comb side, but this is closed comb, and it has these grooves here that help glide the hairs somewhat before the blade hits the hairs or cuts the hairs. Now it's a 3-part razor, so we undo the handle, then we get 2 bits like that, then we pop a blade inside this section here, the top cap. Now for the demo shave I'm going to be using a feather blade. That's quite a sharp blade, but if you're a beginner I'd kind of start with another type of blade like a Derby or Astra blade or any of the other ones. Maybe the only blade not to start with at first is a feather blade. Because it's a 3-part razor we have to make sure this blade is aligned well. Quite difficult for me to see here, but that must be aligned. And we screw back the handle. That's it. How's that blade? Looks good to me. Now, a 3-part razor is not quite as easy as a 2-part razor. Now, this is a 2-part, which is a Merkur 34C. And you'll see we undo that, then that comes apart like that. So that's slightly easier for changing blade. And you pop a blade in there and then we just do that part back up. Unlike the Merkur 23C here, which is a 3-part. Quite a light razor as well, and weighs 60 grams. That's 2.1 ounces, around 2.1 ounces, 60 grams. That's quite light compared to some other razors. Not too light though. The lightness and mildness can make it a good transition razor from a multi-blade razor. Now, like the other razors, the Merkur 23C gives a nice mild shave. And it might feel familiar for guys coming from using cartridge razors because of that lightness and the extra length in the handle. It's not quite as big as a shift coming from the cartridge razors to this. There's more similarities with this than the other razors. Not only that, the handle is also slimmer as well, and that kind of matches well with cartridge razors or cartridge razor handles. Now it's not my favourite. I prefer a bit of a thicker handle, you know, a handle the same as the DE89. However, I can see how some people might prefer this. But do watch your wives or girlfriends with this razor, because the women like to use these. Because this long handle is very good on the long strokes of shaving. So think about women who shave their legs. Whoever you can share this razor with, can't you? You can just have your own separate blades and share the razor. But that's about it, gentlemen. If you like my experience of the maneuverability of the Merkur 34C, then go for that razor. If you like my experience of the DE89 of it being a great standard razor, then go for that one. If you want something a bit more affordable and you don't want to spend too much money, then go for the King C Gillette. And that's if you want something that is more similar or closely related to a cartridge razor than the Merkur 23C. 4 razors that are mild in nature, so just give you something to take away on your razor search. Do check out the link in the description, because I have a web page for the roundup of the best beginner safety razors and mild safety razors. Now, this page can be updated frequently, unlike a video like this. So if a new razor I use, I go, right, I think that could be great, or a possible good option for guys that are new to wet shaving, or like a mild razor, then that'll go straight onto that page. That's worth checking out. If you want to stay up to date the latest reviews that come out, do hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification once the video is live. Now, I'd say keep it simple to begin with, guys. Just get yourself a razor like one of these, a tube of Parasso shaving cream, something like that, a cheapish brush, and get some lava going and give it a go. Now, if you don't get on very well with safety razor, not everybody will, you know, not everybody's going to get on very well with one. Some people may have to stick to a multi-blade razor. One thing I'd suggest is try and get into the creams and soaps and that, because there really are some great creams and soaps, and it'll make a shaving game a lot more fun than using that can cut foam stuff. There's so many great scents out there to try with the shaving creams and soap, and the whole process of using a brush and lavering up, getting the lubrication massage well into your whiskers. So even if you do stick to a multi-blade, you can still take on some of the traditional wet shaving stuff. I hope you have a future of enjoying traditional wet shaving just as much as I have. If you've got any further questions, do drop a comment below. I'll always reply to you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.